Thank you, gentlemen and dimes. Coming.
Hey guys, another podcast. Sorry it's so late, but it's here. I'm knee deep in production right now, so I apologize. But another one next week. I got Al Jackson and Omar Dorsey coming up the week after that. Really fantastic podcast. I feel like I'm really hitting my stride. And I want to thank everyone for watching Trip Flip Tuesday nights on Travel Channel at 8 p.m. Tuesday nights. This week coming up is what I would argue to say my opus. It is Vietnam. It is an hour special. These people we take were not stereotypical people we take on a trip flip. The crash is not a stereotypical crash. It is the proudest thing I've ever done because I fought really hard for these kids and for one of the activities we do. And I promise you when I tell you, you will watch this and everyone will be talking about this. It is called ear picking. We go to Vietnam. It's the best episode I think that we've ever done. So check out Trip Flip Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And also, everyone, thank you for all the kind words about the fall. Everyone was very nice. I saw the Trip Flip Tanzania episode, the Trip Flip North Carolina episode. Everyone mentioned my fall, and I thought that was very sweet of everyone. Obviously, I've had problems with my back, and that brings us to what I really want to talk to you about. My back has been absolutely killing me. We bought a bed, a really expensive bed, really expensive in like a store. So I didn't realize this, but you're paying for the guy's wages who works in the store. You're paying for the overhead of having the store. You're paying for the taxes and the rent on the store. So that's why this mattress was so fucking expensive, because it sucked. It was hard as a rock, and it sucked. And quite honestly, I've gotten used to hotel beds. I've gotten used to we stayed in the Four Seasons recently, and their bed was like gold. And I was like, how do I get one of these beds? Cut to Tom Segura. Tom Segura is having the same problem. I think it's both because we're both fat. He introduces me to this mattress called Sattva. Fucking next level. I'm telling you, as a man who has fallen off a waterfall, had back problems, this is the best mattress out there. And it's an online retailer, so you don't have to pay for the markup of the guy who is in the weird suit with the tie that has a donut stain on it, and he's trying to sell you a mattress, and he's like, come on. And then you're laying down. They've got a 75-day trial, so get this mattress. Go to smartbed.com. I think it's smartbed.com. Pretty sure it's smartbed.com. Is it smartbed.com? I'm almost certain it's smarterbed.com. Go to smarterbed.com and get yourself a Sattva mattress. I'm telling you, in the price point that you would buy in the store, they are already half as cheap because they're not on a store. They're online. They don't just drop it to you in a box at your front door. They install it. They take away the shitty mattress you've been sleeping on. Here's my theory on mattresses, everybody. I'm being dead serious when I say this. You spend half of your life laying down. That is the thing that will cause your longevity, is your sleep. Your sleep is directly related to your longevity. Why wouldn't you spend? It's because people don't see it. That's what you spend $50,000 in a car that you never drive, but maybe an hour a day, and then all of a sudden you're dropping $100 on a mattress, $500 on a mattress. Get this bed, Sattva beds. The brand is SAATVA, but just to make it easier, their website's smarterbed.com, smarterbed.com. Tell them you heard about us on the podcast. At the very end of the checkout, select podcast. This is, I'm telling you, a grassroots campaign by one Tom Segura. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but he's having sleep problems. We all have sleep problems because we all travel so much that we don't get used to one bed. Tom finds this bed. He hooks us up all with these beds, and now we love these beds. So go to smarterbed.com. Sattva mattress is kind of hard to spell, but it's a SAATVA mattress, MATTRESS.com. And check podcast right when you check out, okay? Go to smarterbed.com, check podcast at checkout. This helps track the purchases that were made through Tom and me and Ari and all the guys that Tom's hooked up with these mattresses. And, quite honestly, good products. If I find something cool, I send it to you. You know that. I just snorted snot down my nose. I tell you to try my first set of blood pressure medicine because my first set of blood pressure medicine was better than what I'm using now. Quite honestly, I like those shirts, Pilot and Captain. I hooked you guys up with Pilot and Captain with the discount. I still wear those shirts. I wear them on TV. I like Welcome skateboards. I like Nike SBs. I tell you the stuff I like, the shoes. They're really comfortable. If you spend a lot of time on your feet, get nice Nike SBs and get inserts. I get inserts with all my shoes. This is all, by the way, I'm marketing to people that are exactly like me because we all have the exact same problems. We're all overweight. We all have a hard time sleeping. Me and all my friends travel. I'm on my feet. So Satva Beds, check them out at smarterbed.com. Tell them that we sent you by clicking podcast. All right. Today's episode, after that long-winded ad, and I'm sorry, I'm just passionate about sleep. I have been ever since I was a child. Today's guest, from the Chapelle Show, the co-creator of the Chapelle Show, the director of The Goods, stand-up comedian, one of the funniest guys working today, no question about it, and this is a beautiful conversation, Neal Brennan.
This is
Yeah, what's the thing?
We can talk about it on the show. It's
Oh, yeah.
called I Can't Wake Up. Basically, all right, so your alarm goes off.
Yeah?
In order to turn it off, you have to type in a code.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
It's written out.
Here, grab the mic. Wait, hold on.
Caps, small caps, non-caps, numbers.
So, yeah.
Did they hear what we were? Did they?
No,
did you,
say it
all
again.
right. There. I just downloaded an app 2 weeks ago. I don't have a hard time waking up. I fear that I'm going to have a hard time waking up.
Yeah.
So there's an app called I Can't Wake Up where the alarm goes off on your phone, and in order to turn it off, you have to type in a code that they put on the screen, and it's like a 25-character code. And it takes 55 seconds. If you're doing it well, it takes 55 seconds. But you fuck up. Like, I'm so tired at that point. Like, I'll fuck up and it says, like, you made a mistake, go back. And I will have made it like 10 characters before.
Shut the fuck
it's
up.
really,
I just
really
downloaded
great.
it.
Yeah, it's really great.
Do you want to know really great? You don't need to work out, do you?
Yeah, I work out.
Okay. Yeah, but you're fucking naturally skinny.
Yeah, but that's not from like, I don't eat a ton and I exercise.
You're vegetarian?
Yeah, vegan.
Yeah. Vegan?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I couldn't do that. I would be tough.
In LA, it's not hard.
I bet you get great vegan restaurants. Here's the best workout app I've ever found. It's called Trail Mix.
Okay.
I think it's called Trail Mix. I'll pull it up to make sure. What it does is it changes whatever song you want to the beats per minute that you're jogging.
Oh, it's cool.
So you take your song, and it's one of my favorite apps ever. And it just turns out like I love, like there's certain songs that you all of a sudden it's your pacing.
Yeah.
So what it does is it metronomes your steps. So whatever you're doing, that's where the songs just
So does it
up to it.
Is it are all the songs on your phone or it's all like,
your phone? It takes all the songs on your phone. Trail Mix Pro, run with music, and you basically it takes all your songs and then speeds them up. And then what you can also do is you can just take them because it's got a speed counted up to 170 beats per minute. You can just take your songs and just speed them up to whatever you want.
Oh wow!
So like I take like Girl Talk. I love Girl Talk.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to Girl Talk? I listen to Girl Talk and then I'll just speed.
Although
up
I gotta say, Girl Talk, it gets old quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, man. I get it.
I have that.
You're mixing shit up. I get it, but after a while, it's like, all right, this is too chaotic.
See, I always had that problem. You like hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always had that problem with Eminem. I think he's a great lyricist, but like that song. Remember the song? There's vomit on his shirt from last month.
Yeah.
Like I could never get into that song. I couldn't play that song.
If you don't like Lose Yourself, that's like his most sort of logical.
I love the song.
Right.
I couldn't connect with the song in a moment of my own victory.
Got it.
So like, say
it's more about anticipation, though, right?
Yeah. Say I'm
like you don't listen to it before you go on stage. Like
I could
it's
never.
Not,
it feels hollow. It feels sugary. It doesn't feel like this.
What it actually feels like to perform.
Right. It doesn't. But it never connected. Like if I listen to like T.I. you remember when you did the street. Remember, you don't know me.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I connect with those words, and I can feel in the moment, and I can get lost in the music. I could never get lost in Eminem's music ever. I always felt like there was too many things going on in it that I never felt the heartfelt connection with his music and my moment.
The thing about Eminem is his music is inherently defensive.
What do you mean?
Because he's so defensive about being white in hip hop.
Yeah.
And he's such an angry guy naturally.
Yeah.
That it's all anger and like, fuck you. Like, Eminem's one of those guys. Like, if his songs were a person, you'd be like, hey, Eminem. He'd be like, fuck you. And you're like, all right, man. I just want to listen to your music.
Yeah.
I just love music and whatever. Now, having said, I met him and he's a good dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is he distant and quiet and doesn't talk?
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Yeah.
He's like a weird, like, I'd say he probably has some sort of like Asperger's-y, he's good at one thing.
Yeah.
He's really good at rapping.
Yeah, he is a great rapper.
He's an amazing rapper, but he is like everyone, he's got like he's probably on the spectrum, as they say. Like, he's like a weird. The thing that people don't know about Eminem, and it was in this documentary called How to Be a Drug Dealer.
Yeah.
He probably 4 or 5 years ago had a horrible drug problem.
Yeah, I knew that.
But like to the point where he said he couldn't speak. He lost it. When he quit doing them, he said when he kicked, he stayed up for 48 hours straight and just stared at a television, and then he couldn't walk and couldn't speak.
Really?
And he had to go to rehab. Like, he had to go to like physical rehab and speech therapy.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's in that documentary. It's amazing. And no one really talks about it. It's like fucking crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, he's one of those guys that I discovered late, meaning like everyone knew who he was, and I still didn't get the genius of him. And then I did, and I went, "Oh fuck, he's really good."
Yeah.
But I was groomed on Southern hip hop.
Yeah.
So what connects with me is more like the something you. My music's
you
meant
in
for
like a
car.
horse stable.
What's that?
I'm picturing you in like a horse stable and someone like brushing you.
Yeah.
Grooming you, listening to
Southern
Outkast.
hip-hop with an old Outkast CD.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, it's interesting to me that hip hop is made for different cultures and different areas based on how people intake their music.
Yeah.
So like, I'm a car listening hip hop guy. I'm not a headset listening New York hip hop guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jay-Z's great in a car, but some of his shit. Same shit with Eminem. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe what I'm talking about is cultural. Like, I don't like earphone hip hop.
I mean, I don't know if anyone would ever categorize it that way.
Yeah.
Earphone hip hop or not earphone hip hop. Like, I've never heard that categorization.
But there's definitely there's a lot of Miami music that is not meant for headsets at all.
Yeah. It's yeah, but you could it's made for fucking.
None of Trick Daddy belongs in.
It's made for fucking.
Headsets.
It's made for outdoor fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's made for like fucking on a dock, or like on a shitty motorboat. When did you get into hip hop? Shit, man. Public Enemy, 1988. I'm 41.
Okay, you're my age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 19. I remember hearing Public Enemy at a basketball game, at like my high school basketball game, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, this is the best." And because I wasn't into Run DMC and the Beastie Boys because people don't really remember or know how entrenched classic rock used to be.
Yeah.
Like, that was all that you had. Like, if you're a white person in like the suburbs, it's classic rock. That was all there was.
Oh yeah.
So like, I remember starting to listen to hip hop and one of my brothers going like, "What the hell is that shit?" Like,
yeah, like
completely just a bad call historically. And I was like, "No, this is good." It was like Marvin Berry. It's like fucking Back to the Future. So that was when I got into it. And then I wrote for The Source at one point. All those guys did Chappelle, and I've met probably all of them by this point.
It was I don't like talk. I would never want to talk to you about Chappelle at all.
Why?
But because I don't like doing that. I don't know. That's why my brain works.
I mean,
I figure every time you do anything to promote your hour, everyone wants to talk about that.
Oh, well, people want to talk. No one has an interesting point of view on it. I mean, I don't mind talking. It's like it's a fucking great thing that I did, and I'm proud of it.
No, all I'd want to talk about was
the end.
No, not at all. I don't even care about that.
Okay.
I met him recently at the Dayton Funny Bone, and I was impressed at how human he was. I think he'd been put on a pedestal so much by comics and by fans that I was impressed with just exactly that. I forgot he's like a comic too, and he was working on material also, and he was like as unsure of his new shit as I am of my new shit.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, I forgot about that, and I was like, and you're my age, like this, okay,
yeah.
So, but no, my favorite moment of that show ever was always the music.
Oh, that's cool.
The music was always done so well.
Some of it was like really great. Really. Like some of the ways we did shit was like that was based on me and Chappelle. Like he was friends with Mos Def and those guys, so we'd hang out. And
Mos Def
would rap in the car, and it was like, oh, this is very cool. And I knew the Beastie Boys, and they used to they had a video that was like they did it in a basement on sort of just like shitty cameras and I was like, that seems like the best way. In fact, that James Corden thing that he did with Justin Bieber the other night, like where they sang in his car, it's like, oh, this is just the thing we did 12 years ago.
It was extremely original.
Yeah.
Like all the way you guys presented music was extremely original. Yeah. It made that show feel like it's not just a sketch show. I don't think Comedy Central has tried to replicate it a number of times. And I think they've always missed on the fact that show was more about culture than it was sketch.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that Comedy Central didn't like the music parts.
Really?
I mean, it's a pain in the ass. You got to clear shit.
Oh, it's a pain in the fucking ass.
You got to clear, like on the DVD, like John Mayer did a sketch on the DVD, and on the show, and then in order to have him on the DVD, we would have had to pay Sony like $50,000 just to have them, like just because they own them, just shit like that, where it's just like, ugh. Like, this is such a pain in the ass. Even clearing music was a pain in the ass. My favorite music clearance story was we wanted an Outkast song. We wanted, like, I Like the Way You Move, the Big Boy song. Yeah. And so we called Outkast people, and we're like, in sort of our hat in hand, we're like, you think we could get? And they were like, the only way we'll let you use the song is if you have them on the show. We're like, you motherfuckers, pretending to be mad, like, oh, you motherfuckers, we'll call you back. And it was like, oh, great.
That noise you hear isn't my dick high-fiving everybody.
No, it was like, oh, great, okay. Yeah, you can come on the show.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but that's just like, it's kind of not worth it. But you're right about it being about culture and
it was a great sketch show. But it was more of this all-encompassing embrace of culture for everyone. And that sounds weird, but like I'm as into hip hop as any black dude. Patrice and I used to fight about that, and when I was a kid, I remember
saying Patrice and I used to fight about it doesn't really indicate anything other than you talked to Patrice about something.
No, it was a fight. he tried to one night gave me a lesson in what real hip hop black people listen to. Got it. So like, and then dissected a Jay-Z song for me. Yeah, and was like, but you know, I don't think that just because you're black doesn't mean hip hop isn't for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, but that's what I say about like that show is. I remember I got Mos Def's album as soon as that fucking you did that. Yeah. That album's amazing too, by the way.
Really, like his first album is his only real. I mean, I guess he's made other ones, but that album, I wore that album out, man.
Yeah, I did.
Used to listen to that shit a lot.
First time I ever heard hip hop was Roxanne Shante in Norristown, Philadelphia. Yeah, I was in Norristown, Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly.
Ames. Yeah, my cousins grew up next to you, right?
No.
Yup.
Who?
My cousin Andrew, who edits this podcast, The Hobsons. They live in.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally live across the street from my mom.
Have you run into Andrew out here?
No, I don't think so.
He's friends with Callan.
Oh wow,
he's friends with Callan, and he hangs out he's one of the hardest working fucking dudes. He's the kind of guy that's like, I'm not going to get drunk until I am proud of myself out in this city. And you're like, holy shit, I got to hook you guys up.
Yeah, do
because
is he trying to be in showbiz or what's he doing?
Yeah, he's editing my podcast. He's working on like a Hallmark show that where I think it's guest stuff. I mean, he was with Brewer yesterday.
Oh, great.
Like, so he's hangs out with a lot of comics, and then like just does all the stuff that like Count will have these like eccentric dinners where he brings all his interesting people and always invites my cousin Andrew.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Your brother was my first connection in comedy.
I didn't know.
When I got into comedy, my uncle Dave said, talk to Kevin Brennan. Kevin Brennan's friends of the family. I went to high school with them. He'll be we talked to his mom. His mom called Kevin, and Kevin.
I feel like I vaguely remember this because there's nothing worse than like someone's gonna call you and you're just like, ugh.
So I go to the show. I go to a show at the Cellar. Kevin's on stage, and I went there to meet him so I could say, "Hey, my name's Bert. I'm gonna get into comedy." And he did crowd work. He started messing with me, and so that's how I met him. And then I talked to him afterwards. He's like, "Oh, go to this Catch a Rising Star party. I'll talk to you over there." And you could tell. I don't even really know him, but like now knowing him, what I do,
it's like the last guy you should
guy you want to
ask
talk
for
to.
anything like that. Yeah.
And so I went up to the Catch party, and I went up to him again. I was like, "Hey," and he goes, "No, my buddy has got this taken care of. He's going to talk to you." And he introduced me to Attell.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then I sat next to Attell the whole time. But you were already out there. You were already in New York, right?
What year was it?
This is 97.
I was
98.
in. We've written Half Baked by then.
Yeah.
So I lived out here. Yeah.
But you would. I remember you.
I lived in New York, and then I moved back. I lived in New York till from 91 to 94. Moved out here, and then moved back to New York in 98.
Yeah. And then when I first moved out to L.A., I was sitting with this girl, Rachel. I don't remember her last name, but I was dating her. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, our buddy Neal Brennan has got," I remember it was the first time I heard the word chutzpah.
It's hilarious.
And they were like, "He's right. He wrote a movie called Half Baked." I go, "I know that guy. I fucking, but I didn't know you." And then the first time I ever met you was sitting at the Improv. You're good friends with Steve Byrne.
Yeah.
And we started talking about a World War II documentary.
Which one?
I think Ken Burns.
The war, yeah.
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 And
Fantastic.
And I was like, "Yeah, but I've been a fan of yours for fucking ever."
Oh, thanks, man.
So how hard was it to get Half Baked made?
Not hard at all. I was literally talking to somebody about it last night, because the thing about Half Baked that people seem to forget or whatever, because it's like sort of like beloved, is that it fucking shit the bed when it came out, and me and Chappelle were like put in jail, like career wise. Him especially.
Really?
Like, he was fucked. They literally said on CNN his career is over when Half Baked came out.
Really?
100%. That Half Baked's the easiest production in the history. The easiest. We pitched it in March. Started shooting in July. Is that right? Yeah. All right. Let's say we pitched it in February, started shooting in July.
Really?
Pitched it.
No script. Just pitched it.
Pitched it. Then we wrote the script in we had 6 weeks. We pitched. The way it came about is pretty funny. All right, so me and Chappelle are friends. We never really written anything together, but I'd sort of say, "Hey, maybe say this," and whatever. I was just writing for dating. I wrote for Singled Out and shit like that. And so I'd go hey, give him tags or whatever. And did the same thing with Jay Moore. And so he went. I wrote a script that wasn't very good, but someone was at this production company, this Bob Simons who produced Sandler's movies. Someone who worked for him was like, "Hey, we should meet with this kid Neal. He's whatever." So I met with her, and I was really funny in the meeting. I was like, it's not a great script, but I was funny in the meeting. I had chutzpah, and then what we used to call chutzpah back in the 20s. And isn't it great? In 6 years, we're going to say the 20s, and it's going to be in the 2020s. So
holy shit! I never thought about that.
Yeah. It's coming, Bert.
Oh, fucking the
Roaring 20s.
Yeah. Oh, I can't fucking wait to throw a Roaring 20s party.
That's funny. So then I met with Bob Simons, the main producer, and I was really funny in that meeting. But again, my script wasn't good. So then Chappelle met with him 3 weeks later, completely having nothing to do with me. And he's like, "Hey, you have any ideas?" And Dave was like, "Yeah, I'm writing this weed movie with my buddy." And they're like, "Who?" And he's like, "You've never heard of him, trust me." because Chappelle was like, had told his agents I want to write something with Neal, and they're like, don't write with that fucking weird dude. And then so the Bob Simon was like, who's your buddy? And he's like, you've never heard of him. He's like, just who is it? And he goes, Neal Brennan. And he's like, oh, we love Neal. He was just here. When can you guys pitch this movie? And Dave's like, I don't know. We haven't, whatever. So Chappelle literally leaves the meeting, calls me, and goes, hey, if Universal calls you, say we're writing a weed movie. We've never talked about this, ever. We'd seen Train Spotting together, and he was like, that'd be funny to do a weed version of that, but we didn't really, that was it. That was literally the extent of the conversation. So then Universal calls me and they're like, are you guys writing a weed movie? And I was like, yeah. We're writing a weed movie. Sure, yeah. When can you pitch it? And I was like, we can pitch it in a month. And then we took the full month to outline it. We literally waited till the night before, outlined it at Dave was staying at the Mondrian across from the Comedy Store, and we started in the afternoon. It was like a Sunday. We had to pitch on a Monday morning, and we just like figured it out. It was funny, like seeing Chappelle's brain, because there's a book called The Writer's Journey that's like the best screenwriting book.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. I recommend it to anyone who's vaguely interested in screenwriting. It's the best screenwriting book you'll ever read.
I can only
and
get
it's
40 pages
super
into a
simple.
screenplay.
You only okay. Well, this will help. So it was like Chappelle read it and he was like, okay. And then I brought index cards and we were outlining it. And like once he saw it, he could completely understand like how to do it. So then we pitched it the next morning and they were like, this is great. And then we pitched it to like Universal that week. And they, we didn't make a lot of money for it, and then it came out. First of all, like the production was like crazy because like no one really listened to us. Like I remember getting on set and Chappelle going like, "Is this how you pictured it?" And I was like, "No." "Is this how you pictured it?" And he was like, "No." Like it wasn't supposed to be that colorful and shit. It was supposed to be like fairly realistic looking.
That colorful. That's interesting that you say that. There was
Yeah, it was awful. It was just like some goofy shit. Like we wanted it to be like real. Like we wanted to look like that movie Kids.
Yeah.
Like just like a bunch of dudes in New York, like with some sort of like goofy parts, but and maybe that's why it succeeds. I don't know why it succeeds. I think part of the reason it succeeds is it was fairly popular, and then Chapelle Show hit, and it became like this thing. But before that, it was like, yeah, it's a funny movie.
Yeah, it was. I remember hearing about it. I just started working the door at the Boston Comedy Club,
which I also did.
Yeah, did you really?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think I knew that. I
did that like when I was going to NYU Film School and working. I'd work the door with like Jason Steinberg.
Steinberg was the first guy I met in the business. Yeah,
I met Jason through my brother, like when I was in high school. So yeah, I'd work the door with Jason, and then that's a weirdly good job.
It is.
It's a good job in terms of like, whenever I see an agent or somebody hanging out at comedy clubs that's young, I'm like, dude, you're smart, because there's no better way to like get a feel for showbiz and talent than just working at a comedy club and like seeing who does well, seeing what they're like, seeing like what other people think of that person, seeing like you can see people
right behind you is the flyer I used to hang out right above that.
Oh, fuck.
I used to hand out that flyer.
I know that. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Jordan Rubin, Maceo. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, like that almost gives me a panic attack saying that.
It did a lot of good for me in hosting TV shows. So I'm naturally this sounds crazy, but I'm naturally like a more quiet, kind of reserved person. Yeah, I think it's a overcompensation for my social anxiety that makes me loud.
I actually, now that you say that, I can see that.
Yeah, and so but that job of having to walk up to strangers on the street really got me out of my shell and really taught me how to talk to strangers, and I didn't know how to do that. I'd gone to school in Tallahassee. I'd a small town ultimately, but like, and I knew how to be big and loud and drunk, but I didn't know how to like be like charming, and gregarious, and go, hey, you guys want to see a show? Yeah, and it really did a lot. That job did a lot for me. I think I learned a lot about comedy too, just watching.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember. The other thing is like you remember. I worked there in 92, 93, 94, and like the average show was Chappelle, Jay Moore, Jon Stewart, Ray Romano. Like, I remember someone going like, what's going to happen to Ray? I know that's not, and that people, it would seem crazy now, but like he was on news radio and got fired and Joe Rogan replaced him.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you get fired from a pilot that gets picked up, that's a bad fucking thing.
Do you know who else that happened to? Drew Carey.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's another like showbiz story that I like, that having been around so long. I remember being at the Improv with Chappelle in 95, 96, and Drew Carey was talking to him, and he goes, yeah, I hope your show fails. And Dave was just like, Jesus, Drew, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he was like, well, no, I just want my show to do good. Like Drew's was, and it was just kind of like a weird thing to say, but like that's how, when people talk about shit, I'm like, I've been doing this shit so fucking long.
You've been in this business much longer than I mean, I've been in this business a while, but you've been in it another fucking 10 years before me. Probably.
I've been in it like real, like Half Baked
came out in 97.
18 years ago. We wrote it in 97.
You wrote a movie 18
a studio movie
fucking
18 years ago. So whenever someone's talking to me about showbiz, I'm like, so what else? Tell me what else.
Yeah.
What to teach me about all this? Like, I'm fucking been around this shit for positive experiences, bad, like negative, really negative experiences. Been hot, cold, like just to the point of like I don't even.
Are you numb to the heat now?
Well, no. Well, I'm numb to it in that like I know I've never capitalized on it well.
You are an interesting person in this business because you have worked steadily.
Yeah. For
fucking probably 20 years.
Yeah.
But you are someone that I feel like I think it's your comedian spirit is like this. You're humbled, like you like the fucking ultimate pinnacle of what everyone wants: show running, executive producing the greatest comedy sketch show ever.
Yeah,
and then fucking it just falls apart. You're like, great, now I got to start all over from scratch.
But the thing about show business is you always have to start over. You never. It's like,
did you know Mark Cronin?
Yeah, I know Mark Cronin really well. Like, we wrote on Singled Out together.
That's why, Cronin sat me down with a bottle of scotch in his office when I worked on the X show. And the day it got canceled, poured me a scotch. He took a scotch, and he said, there's something you need to learn. All shows get canceled. Yeah. And I remember going, oh, fuck, I guess, yeah.
What did you do on the X show?
I was a host.
Yeah.
And he's like, all shows get canceled. And he's like, you need to get comfortable with that. Because if you're not going to get comfortable with that, you can't work in this business. Yeah. He said, Bert, you're going to be on shows better than this and shows worse than this, and they're all getting canceled. And I remember even like end of Trip Flip, we just ended our 4th season, and one of the younger girls on the show was in my room helping me pack, and it was
is that what you call fucking?
No, yeah. And so she's her name's Heidi. She's a really sweet girl, but this season was the first time she had ever rented a car in her life.
Great.
So like she really, it's like just, and she said, what if, do you think we're getting canceled? Like that's the way her brain thinks, and I'm like, no. And that's the way my brain. I'm like, no. And I go, if we do, you got to be cool with that. That's part of the game.
Yeah,
they're all getting canceled. Yeah, and so that's one of the best lessons to learn is that there is going to be failures, and
the other thing is no one is like has a green light. Yeah. No one has an unconditional green light. You know who's trying to find a script right now to be in? Tom Cruise. Yeah. Will Smith. Like, I'm not fucking around. Like, every director, there's no... Judd is looking for something. Like, everyone's always looking for a thing to do. And there's no... And then once you get it, you have to kind of, like, prove that it's a worthwhile thing. They don't just go, yeah, fucking go do it. Yeah, here's $50 million. Just go do this shit. Like, so when people... Whenever I'm directing something and an actor will go... I don't want to read. I don't want to go in audition. And I was like, well, guess what? I didn't want to pitch. So but I did. Yeah. I didn't want to have to pitch, but I did. So let's just, oh shit, Dave Chappelle.
If you feel free to take it.
No, I'm not going to take it. No, fuck that guy. Yeah, so the idea that somehow but the good news is, like, Half Baked happened more. The only thing that bothers me is I know how fleeting all this stuff is. Like, I remember doing Half Baked and the markup you get. Like, I remember being in a meeting with, like, at Universal and with, like, a bunch of executives from Universal, and the Tarantino script for Jackie Brown had just come out. Yeah. Like, Chappelle auditioned for it, so I'd read the script, and everybody was talking about it, and they're like, da-da-da-da, and they go, Neal, what do you think of it? Thinking, like, you're the fucking, this amazing art, like, and I remember thinking, like, that tone is not appropriate. Like, that's completely unnecessary. Like, yeah. But the funny thing, Chappelle's so smart. When Half Baked looked like it was going to get made, he goes, congratulations, you're a witch doctor. He's like, you're now like this weird thing that people are going to look to for, like, you've got this crazy, something that other people don't know. And he just knew it from being around the shit. So, and then it came out. So we were, like, hot from the script. Then it comes out.
So do you get a project? You get a project right after it?
Yeah, and I ended up not doing any of them. I was supposed to. Well, no. Here's what happened. Me and Brewer were supposed to write a movie, and Brewer fired me. I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah. Me, Brewer, and Tracy had to write a movie, and Brewer fired me.
Really?
Yeah. And what's hilarious is 2 years ago I saw Brewer at Montreal, and I was just sort of like didn't have a lot to say to him, like, just like insecure and defensive. So he said to like Tom Papa, he's like, I'm really bummed. Like, Neal, I was like super happy to see Neal, and he was treated me like shit. And I was like, does he not remember firing me? He fired me from a movie. I'm not going to, like, yeah. And he forgot. He didn't remember it.
Really?
Yeah, he had no recollection. I was like, yeah, dude, I don't, like, you don't represent good shit to me. So like, got fired by Brewer. Then I did. I sold a couple movies and that was fun to, like, sell movies on my own. I sold them with this guy Mike Schur, who created Parks and Rec and all this. But, like, back then he was just a writer for SNL, and that was really cool. But I went to a premiere of after Half Baked. I went to the premiere of Bowfinger. This is in 1999 or 98 or 99. And I remember seeing all the Universal execs, and they looked at me like I fucking had AIDS, and they didn't want to get it on them. And I was like, I made the decision, like, oh, I'm never going to another premiere. That's fucking off the top.
Yeah.
And also, like, I see how this shit works. It's just like, everyone out here is pretty much Don King. So if you're doing well, I always believed in you.
Yeah.
And if you're not, they just have no time for you. So the only thing that gets me mad still is people buying it. People believing that you're only as talented as the last thing you did. And the thing that drives me crazy is it's other fucking artists.
Yeah.
Like, friends of mine that, like, won't use me on shit, and then they'd rather use somebody else, and I'm like, are you fucking, why would you hire somebody, like, we're friends and I'm funny, why would you use somebody else? And it's like, well, they're hotter than, they don't say it, it's like, yeah, they're hotter than you. And it's like, are you fucking, guess who was, who couldn't have been less hot when we started Chapelle Show? Chappelle. He was fucking, I remember telling him, I was like, dude, you're gonna have a career, but they're gonna make you, after Half Baked came out, I go, you're gonna have and he did that movie Dirty Work with Norm that shit the bed, and I was like, I go, you can have a career, but they're going to make you walk back.
Yeah.
They just dropped you off in the middle of the desert. You got to walk back.
I mean, if you think about it, everything he had done, I mean, arguably, up until the Chappelle Show was a failure.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, more opportunity probably than anyone in the business.
10 pilots.
Yeah, and everything was a failure, and then all of a sudden that blew
Except
up.
His HBO special, which is great, but even that was considered a failure by HBO.
Because it didn't do what Chris Rock's did.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it. I remember watching it with another comedian, and thinking, oh, this is going to be compared to Chris Rock's special,
yeah.
and it doesn't have the. It's not Chris Rock's special,
right? Nothing was. Now, having said that, so this is what I love about Chappelle. HBO was just like sitting on it, and Chappelle was like, "Hey, do you guys can you release it on DVD?" And they were like, "No, we're not going to release it on DVD." He goes, "Do you mind giving me the rights and I can release it?" And they were like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here." And then Chappelle Show came out, and he sold 1 million of them.
I bet he did.
He literally sold 1 million of them.
Holy shit.
And owned it. So like that's how cold he was. So the fact that I know people that would rather work with so and so because they're hot, and I just did something that I think is going to make me hot again, and I'm already waiting for people to go. I literally showed it to somebody, and they go, "Man, we should do something together." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! Like, get the fuck away from me!" Like 2 minutes ago, you didn't think that. Yeah. And that, like, so do you think I lost the talent that I directed fucking Rick James? Do you think that's gone?
Yeah.
Do you think it just I lost it? I literally was on the 405 and it fucking flew out of my car.
Yeah.
All my talent flew out of my car. But people are so insecure. And I'm one of these people that's like, I'm loyal. Like, I'll fuck with anybody if we're cool. Like, literally, I'll fuck with anybody if we're cool. Like, whatever. It's like, I'll help you on I'll do anything. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't think you're going to pull me down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, yeah, I'll work with, I'm not like, the other good thing about like being fairly successful is like now I can just work with people I like. So I don't have to take just random jobs. I'll just work with people that I know and like, and what, the thing about Chappelle Show that taught me more than anything is like you're giving a lot of life force over to these shows and these projects. Like it's a lot of time and it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of thought. So if you don't like the person, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
It's life force is an interesting word because I feel like I dump a lot of life force into stuff. Whenever I have a project,
yeah, I'm sure you do.
And then all of a sudden I go, man, I just got done. Then I get back on tour, and I'm like, God damn it, man, I haven't given any life force to my stand up.
Yeah,
my stand up's just been sitting there, and that's the only thing that's ever been there. Every time you come back, every time you come back, your stand up's like, yeah. And I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, if I don't fucking focus on stand up, I will be that guy that just it passed him by.
Yeah.
I literally, and we were talking about this right when we got here, but like, you know, Bill and Jim are both doing bus tours. I'm not that I couldn't, not that I.
Jim Jeffries, Bill Burr.
Yeah, but
it sounds like our friends Bill and Jim are giving tours of Beverly Hills.
I'm
They're doing
horrible
a TMZ
at talking
tour.
sometimes.
Yeah,
but I go, I need to fucking really focus. I sent an email last night mapping out a 12-city tour that I wanted to do, and then I was like, I don't even really need a bus. I could just get a rental car and do it.
Yeah,
and just stay in hotels and be probably a little more comfortable than $10,000 a month a week. But like I was like, yeah, I need to fucking focus.
Everything I've ever gotten, I've gotten from comedy clubs.
Yeah,
I mean, literally everything I got. The first part of my career was knew Dave through comedy clubs. And then based on that, I got stuff. And then me and Dave did Chappelle Show. And then it all comes back to like, you know, like Chris Rock didn't know I was funny until we were Facebook friends and he would see my tweets and Facebooks and he'd write like, funny. I'm like, yeah, Rock.
Yeah.
Like, and we'd do shows at the Cellar and he'd be like, oh, yeah.
Well,
like
there's gotta be a little bit of a like you're helping people write jokes. You're tagging jokes for people.
Yeah.
And then you're going off and directing movies and you're still the guy behind the scenes. And there's got to be a part of you that's like, fuck this, I need to be on in front.
Well, yeah, it's not even so fuck this. It's more that like life force thing. It's like it's so much time and so much energy that I'd like to reap the reward of being able to sell out theaters. You know, or sell out clubs or whatever. Like, I'd like that reward. And I've been doing more of that lately. Like, I've done a bunch of pilots, and I'm doing 2 now. And
directing or acting?
No, I'm in them and writing them and all this shit. Like, so that's the thing of, like, that's the frustrating part about being, quote-unquote, behind the scenes is, like, I'll be on shows with 5 other people who don't know how to direct or write. Mm-hmm. And I'll kill just as hard as them, And people will go, well, we should use him. Neal's a behind-the-scenes guy. And it's like, motherfucker, we were on the same stage.
Yeah.
I killed just as hard as them. Why am I disqualified from whatever job because I know how to direct? Like,
well, the thing that's fascinating, in my opinion, is I've always there's an actual fear that goes into me. So, like, I've always been a guy that gets deals, and then we make it or don't make it, and then you write a script. It's really fucking difficult to translate funny onto a screen.
yeah.
It's so... I only have one joke that I've ever put into something I shot and directed myself, or I shot and produced and wrote. Another kid directed it. There's only one joke I've ever written, and there's a big party scene. Dude passes out, and we all get markers to write on him, and then it kind of swipes, and as we pull away, it's a black dude. It's what's the guy's name? Black guy, Daryl Wright. It goes from a white guy to Daryl Wright. It's the only thing I've ever written that I went, that actually someone watched and went, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Fucking ever. I can do 1 hour and 45 minutes nonstop laughter, but when it comes to creating,
well, but because people don't know the difference. People don't know the difference. The reason that works is because it's visual. The thing of it's like there's a thing in movie writing where they're like, movies are a show me medium, not a tell me medium. Meaning, don't have a character talk about the time they did this. Do a flashback, show it.
Yeah.
So with stand up, there was a show on Comedy Central called like Mashup, I think, where they would do. T.J. Miller did it, and they would do like visualizations of people's jokes, and it didn't work because it's more fun to imagine it yourself based on what someone's saying than it is to just see it in certain respects. That's the thing about comedy is we can conjure up a stand-up. You can conjure up an image for someone just talking, and that's what's cool about it. So if you just actually show it, it's kind of like kind of just doesn't. It's kind of flat a lot of the time, unless it's like an original idea that's visual, that's done best visually. Like that's a visual joke. So, of course, it would work.
Yeah, but it is tough, and I think that I also think there's this proprietorship that people in this business have where they don't want people to cross over.
Yeah,
they don't want you to be on stage funny, sitcom funny, like
but the thing of it is
they
like
want you to do what you came to the party to do.
Look at the Emmys; it's Tina, Louis, Larry David. It's all people that can do both.
But do you ever feel like Louis is the only one? I mean, Tina too, but Tina, I guess everyone you just named. But like, I feel like I always felt like you'd go into a sitcom and you'd go in and I go, I'm a comic, I'm going to sit in the writer's room, and they'd be like, nah, it's okay, we got that.
Well, the reason they don't want you in there is because they don't want you fighting. They think you're going to fight just to give your character jokes.
Yeah, I would never do that. I want the show to be funny.
Right, but they don't know that. They don't assume that.
I mean, my first deal ever, I remember pitching the guy a joke, and he goes, I got it, okay? And I went, well, okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got hired to star in it. Let me write it. And I went, I don't want a story by credit. Like, I just want this to be as good as possible.
Well, yeah, because people want to feel like it was them. It was their thing.
Yeah.
I did it. Whereas, if you're, first of all, you're going to get the credit either way. Yeah. Whoever, it's like me and Dave, when we were doing Half Baked, realized we were like, Dave's going to get all the credit in comedy, and I'm going to get all the credit in show business. So in the stand-up world, I was a fucking doorman. So I was a doorman in 1994, writing a movie in 1997. Like, Jeff Ross referred to me as Dave Chappelle's typist. You know what I mean? But everyone thought either I'm a genius and Dave's a moron, or I'm a moron and Dave's a genius. Like,
could be just two geniuses.
Yeah, or just two talented people.
Yeah,
like,
two talented people that came up with genius.
Yeah, like, that's fucking fine. Like, why can't there be that? Like, because that's the thing. When people go, who wrote that joke? Me and Dave would never say who wrote it. Because the only reason people want to know is so that they can discount the other person.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is people don't want. They want you to just do that if that's what you're hired for.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, that's the thing is all these jobs, running a show and all that shit is really hard. And it's, like, really draining. So that's kind of my thing of, like, I'm not going to do anything unless I really, really like the person.
Yeah.
And so far, who have I worked? I mean, the last couple of years, the only people I've worked with are, like, Chris Rock. I helped him with his movie. Seth Meyers, I'll help with Top 5.
Yeah, my buddy produced that.
Who's that?
Tony Hernandez.
Oh, yeah. And I'll help Seth Meyers out with, like, the correspondence dinner. And then I did a thing. I like doing short stuff, too. I don't like being locked into some shit for 9 months.
Yeah.
Where you can't do anything else. It's just like, ugh. Again, I wouldn't mind being locked into my own thing, but I don't want to be locked into somebody else's show and, like, have to go. And an interesting thing happened where when you run a show, like Chapelle Show, if the person's name is on it and it's their show, ostensibly, I was afraid of Dave the whole time. When you have one of those jobs, if you're Rob Burnett, if you're the person who runs so-and-so's show, that person, your career can be over in a second. Meaning if you look at the person funny.
Really?
Or if you say something to their wife. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, yeah, like, you can, like, my Chappelle Show was over like that. It wasn't because of me, but it was over like that. Like, I know people that have been fired. Robert Morton ran Letterman until he didn't. Like, you have to sort of, you're basically like the Secretary of State. You're the Vice President. You're also sort of like a handmaiden where you're just like, I've created some jokes for you, sir.
Yeah.
Your material for the day. And so I realized, like, oh, I don't want to be afraid of somebody. So last summer I hosted a show on Sundance, and what I came to realize is, like, then I was afraid of the audience. You're never not afraid of somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's never not someone. There's never not a mouth to feed. Even Rupert Murdoch is afraid of his stockholders. Like, so it goes back to the thing of, like, there's no perfect job. There's no
green light.
Yeah, there's no green light for anybody. Like, you have to be good every time, or people are like, fuck you.
I remember getting into stand up thinking, why can't I bomb every now and then? Isn't that part of the gig? And I remember Barry Katz took me to some Chinese restaurant on Bleecker, and he was like, you gotta kill every time, man. Every fucking time.
Like at a showcase or just on shows?
Every time you get on stage. Because I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I still believe in that idea, but I believe that when I go on the road and I'm in, like, Phoenix, I don't look at the show that has 200 people differently than the show that has 500 people. You know, like, you have to look at both shows as, like, and sometimes I go, but it's like, I used to say this all the time in Columbus and in Miami. It's the third show Saturday. I'm phoning it in. Yeah. But you can't.
No. Yeah.
It's you can't phone it in. It's got to be, you got to do your best every fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, I think if there's 200 people in a 500 seat venue, I'll probably be a little slower. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not phoning it in. It's just a different energy.
It's a different energy. I had fucking 45 people in my show in Minneapolis at House of Comedy, and which is a big fucking room on my Sunday show. And man, I was like, fuck. And this old man told me I just wasn't funny.
Wow. When was this?
I was fucking 2 weeks ago. He's just like, you just don't have it. And I was like, I do have it. And I'm like, and I'm doing it. Like, I'd tell a story and it would kill, and then it would just go right back to dead fucking silence. Yeah. And then at the end of the show, he was like, I just came here. I was only on Travel Channel. I just wanted to talk to you after the show about travel and where you suggest we should go. We're just retired. And I went, you fucking serious?
Yeah, you're a travel agent.
Yeah.
Let's go see that travel agent at the House of Comedy.
And then, of course, I was like, Dubrovnik. And he was like, really? I go, yeah, go to Dubrovnik. And he was like, for real? I go, yeah, you'll fucking love it. Just go.
Where's
like,
that?
It's fucking
Croatia or something?
Yeah, like it's all in the Mediterranean Sea, I think.
Got
it. My map is off in my head right now, but it's the go-to place. It's where everyone's going because it's cheap. It's fucking gorgeous. It's untouched. It's not steaming with tourists. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think I know people that have gone.
Yeah, and And he's like, okay, all right, great. No, what about I want to go to somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. I go, Palau. And he's like, okay, all right, fantastic. And I was like, you guys just retired? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so I'm basically your fucking travel agent.
And he'd heckled you.
And he heckled me. And my self-esteem is so fucking low that I sat and talked to him to make sure he had a good time, at least at some point. And I told him all the places he should go and what he should do and where he should stay in New Zealand.
Yeah, you know what's fucked up, though, in comedy is, like, if you hadn't, then you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you were like, hey, man, fuck you, then you're a dick. Even though he totally started it and completely dismissed you and insulted you.
What was it like? What was it like getting out of? What was it like going on the road for the first few times?
You know what's funny about the road is like
because you didn't really have any real connection with the road.
No,
you had comedy club connection, but not like road connection.
No. What's funny is I basically I wanted to headline, and people were like, no one's gonna come see you. Like, so I would do clubs for like no money, and people would come see me just based on like Chapelle Show and whatever, But so I'd go on the road and for not very much money, and I was like, fuck them. They fucking said they wouldn't draw, and then I was in the airport at like 6 a.m. with my hands up at the TSA, and I was like, who am I doing this for? Like I realized like I was just doing it because they said I couldn't.
Who am I doing this for?
Yeah, like why am I?
It's a fucking great visual. That's the difference between directing and fucking comedy. Is you let me draw it in my head. When you said that, I drew it in my head and I giggled at you in like a shirt that's hanging, but I can still see your belly button.
Yeah,
and you're like, "Who am I doing this for?"
Yeah, you can like you went to a close up in your head of me tilting my head and going, which is funnier than if I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since then. That basically, I did an hour on Comedy Central, did well, et cetera, and now
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I watched it. I think when it premiered.
Thank you. So now I'm just writing another hour, but I haven't gone out on the road just because I made it like I realized like I made a bunch of money last year doing voiceover for Samsung. Yeah. I do all the commercials and
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, for all the Note 4 and the fucking S5 and all those commercials. So I was just like, I had a decent lead monetarily, and then once that happened, I was like, okay, now I was like, I couldn't even see poverty. I turned around and poverty was like, had passed out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not fucking going on the road for no money.
These are my road arguments. I always say. Okay. I just had this conversation with Christina Pajinski. Who's Tom Segura's wife?
Mm-hmm.
But I say that to people that don't know only because it's
how do you pronounce her last name?
Pajinski.
Pajinski. Okay.
I just call her Push. She called me and was like, I don't know. I mean, by the way, I probably shouldn't have this conversation on air. But she was like, there is the problem that sometimes the clubs don't pay that much.
Yeah.
And where you can go in and do a rock venue one night, sell 300 tickets of people that want to see you. You have a fun show,
money,
and you get the door, and then you walk out with say $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Walk out with $7,000, depending on what, and then it's great. I love it. I do this thing called a Calling Sick to Work tour where I go in and I do radio at 8 a.m. to 10, and drink on air, and then go right to the club at 11, do a show at 11, and then I fly fucking home. It's the best thing in the world. I don't expand my audience though. Those are people that were there to see me. I can't fuck up. It's a good feeling knowing no one's writing a blog about you.
Yeah.
And trying something new and knowing you got a soft cushion to fall on.
Yeah.
I love it. But my argument to Christina was you aren't growing your audience. So I go to Dayton every year. My money in Dayton, there's a ceiling on how much you can make in Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's not, it's a great fucking club. It's one of my favorite clubs.
I've done that club with Dave before.
Yeah. And it's a good scene because Dave lives fucking 20 minutes from there, so people are into
think
comedy.
He might be there, yeah.
Yeah, and so and he shows up probably once fucking month.
Yeah.
And but I'm not making money in Dayton that I make in say like DC, New York, LA, Miami, Tampa. I'm not making that money, but I still do that club. I still do that club because I feel like I get an opportunity to build an audience for all my shit, and I also have people that don't know me. And so I have to be funny for real. Like I have to be funny like when I started. And so that's the trade-off on doing the road is you do build your audience. And when you do come back, you know, but like I said, if you don't hit bonuses in Dayton, if I don't hit bonuses in Dayton, it's my wife is like, fucking seriously? And she's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I think that
by the way, that's Rock's argument for doing, like, he doesn't believe in the make a special and sell on your website thing. Because he's like, he goes, I have a lot of fans who just got home one night, were drunk, and saw me on HBO.
Me.
People who just didn't like me. People were like, fuck this guy. And then Bring the Pain came on and we're like, oh, this guy's pretty fun. Like, so he's of the same mind of like, you got to grow your audience.
Yeah. Did you ever think about having like this like cottage industry of you directing comics specials and helping them whittle out the shit?
I was just talking to somebody about it an hour ago.
Oh, really?
Like, in that, yeah, it's like I could totally do that. I think Rock's doing that right now with Amy, with Schumer. He's directing her HBO special.
Yeah, my buddy Tony's producing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did Chris's movie, right? You said?
He did Chris' movie, he's producing that, and he
does Schumer Show also.
Does Schumer Show, he does Broad City.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I grew up with him.
He's a good dude.
He's yeah. You don't even know. I've known him since we were kids.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, we both grew up in Tampa together and moved to New York together.
Oh, wow.
And then lived across the street. He lived like just one block south of the Comedy Cellar, and I lived across the street from the Comedy Cellar. And so we hung out every fucking night.
Got it.
But yeah, I wanted Fitzsimmons to, I actually am thinking, I'm supposed to do another special. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of, I want to do it at the DC Improv.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it in a club.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not a theater comic. Why would I do it at a theater? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's the counter argument is that it's like, and there's another Rockism. He's like, that my stand-up specials are an infomercial for my live show. So, you make it seem like, he's like, I cut to the audience just to show people like, see how much fun this is? It's like an infomercial where they're like, yes, when they cut to the crowd and they're like, it does rehydrate,
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's the advantage of doing it in a theater is people go like, this guy's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess so. I just feel like I feel like sometimes like I don't do theaters except for when I do a special.
Yeah. No, I know.
But I talked to Fitzsimmons and I was like, hey man, I want to say like we came up with a number like $5,000 to work with me for a weekend. Like basically I just give him $5,000 to come on the road with me, also, arguably feature, and then sit through my hour fucking 6 times.
Yeah.
And go and then sit with me at the end of every night sober and go, okay, you're fucking doing this, and it kind of is a little hacky.
Yeah.
And just pull out the shit. Because I'm just with me on the road.
Yeah.
And I can't take advice as some guy who's a host. And I'm not shit on a host, but like sometimes you're like, yeah, maybe you got that advice from the guy that you worked with before, and now you're giving me a tag for something that I don't know.
Yeah.
But I totally would. As a comic, I'd feel more comfortable with you directing my special than with some guy that I don't know, because I know that you know what is funny.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. I 100% think that. Like, the fact that Amy's special will be better because Chris is directing it, and mostly because he'll give her tags.
Did you direct yours?
Yeah.
You did. So how does that work? How did you?
Well, in that case, they did Chris D'Elia, Steve Renazizi, and mine like in the same theater over a week. Or over whatever 3 days. And there was this guy Ryan Polito who directed. He was supposed to direct all of them, but so he directed Renazizi's, and then Chris D'Elia's dad, is a TV director.
Yeah,
like by trade. Like he directed. His partners with David Kelly, who did Boston Public, and so D'Elia's dad directs all those shows.
Oh yeah.
So D'Elia.
Oh holy shit.
Yeah. So
D'Elia is like. He's okay. All right.
Yeah, but having said that, whenever someone tries to shit on D'Elia,
no, I'm not shitting on him at all. I'm not shitting on him at all.
Yeah, but people think he's like. I've heard people go like, oh, "He's a rich guy." I'm like, he fucking murders. That dude's I did a thing with him last night. He was fucking hilarious. Like he's such a funny dude.
But what it did for me is I think I'd had a very different picture of him growing up. I assumed he grew up in Brooklyn.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. I assumed he was from a small Italian family in Brooklyn. Him and his brother came out together because I watched his brother's movie.
I never watched it.
I watched his brother's movie. It was good. His brother's fucking very talented.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how fucking badass. Two brothers fucking fighting their way just like Entourage to the top.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take away. It just gives me a very different story that now is almost even more interesting. Because now I feel like his dad like directed, I'm guessing if I guess this right, I'm gonna shit my pants. But like was directing Love Boat, and he was like on the set of Love Boat with his brother, which isn't the two Italian brothers fighting their way out of the ghetto.
Slightly different
story I have in my head.
No, it was like it wasn't Love Boat. It was also like they lived in Jersey until Chris was probably 10 or something. Yeah. Then they moved out here to the Valley.
I just texted back and forth about podcasting with him. I'm dying to hear it now.
Yeah, Chris a good dude, man.
Yeah, I met him a long time ago when he was working with Joe Coy. I met him a long time ago, and we did some show where I think we brought up two girls on stage, and there was a fight. I don't fucking remember, but it's one of those bar shows. But you were saying Chris's dad?
Yeah, so Chris's dad directed Chris's, and then I directed mine. So all the cameras are there, the basic angles are there. There's a dolly in the back. So it's like Ryan did a line cut of mine.
Yeah,
like as it was happening, it was like camera one, camera two, and then but it was all like I told some cameramen like, "Hey, do this." Look, directing a stand-up special is not that hard.
Yeah, really?
As Eddie Murphy said, there's 4 cameras, point them all at me. Like in different sizes, wide, medium, tight.
Yeah,
dolly. It's fucking pretty simple. So that's the benefit. The benefit of any director is the best director. The thing that you get when Judd directs your movies is tags. The thing you get when I direct the thing is tags.
What do you mean tags?
We'll make the script better.
Yeah.
Meaning like when I did that the Goods, the Pivot movie, like and Will Ferrell and Adam McKay produced it and all this stuff, and there was all these UCB people who were like improv and all this stuff. I came up with just as much, if not more shit than they did. Like all these improvisers, because that's kind of my thing. Like, so Judd, same thing. Like anyone who's, I'm sure Harold Ramis was the same thing. Like I'm betting Todd Phillips comes up with funny shit. Like that's kind of the job. So the idea, like Judd's angles aren't that special. You know what I mean? Like,
so directing for you a comedy is less about, because you're right. You're not directing Heart of Darkness. Mm-mm. You're directing basically a palette that everyone's familiar with.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up, and then make the script better.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up and make the moments better.
Yeah. You're trying to get the script better comedy wise, and your job is generally, and then as the non-comedy part is like, make it a compelling, watchable story movie. So you just worry about plot and tone and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no.
Were you doing stand up when you did the Goods?
Yeah, not when we were shooting, but when we were editing and stuff.
During had you started already? When did you start stand up? Like 4 years ago?
I quit. I basically did it a little during Chappelle Show, but like not. I not did whatever.
Yeah.
And then I really started in 2007.
2007?
So yeah, then when I came out here for the Goods.
And did you talk? Was Kevin pissed?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He like basically doesn't talk to me because.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Get it. Like, look, man, it's like if you're in show business is real competitive.
Yeah.
And
you're a family of like
family
of
10, so there's already like competition.
Yeah.
I remember like at Thanksgiving one year, one of my other brothers said, I was like 14, and someone said, Kevin, Neal's funnier than you anyway. Like, just like awful shit. Like so there's already, so if you're in show business and then your brother you help your brother get into it, which he clearly did.
Yeah.
And then at least like the first he introduced me to Jay, and then I started working the door or whatever. And then your brother does well, and people start comparing you and go, why doesn't your brother do use you and all this shit? It's like, you're going to get fucking salty. I get it.
Yeah.
I know people that are not my brother that I get salty with. So imagine if we were fighting for love also. So yeah, I get it. Like I'm not mad at him. I understand it.
So you guys haven't spoken?
I mean, we'll speak every once in a while, but it's not like we used to be like cool, and now it's like, you know.
That stinks.
Yeah, but I'm used to it. It's like it's as much a function of like an Irish Catholic family as it is of a comedy family.
Yeah.
Like it's just how shit is. Like just volatile people.
Do you guys have the whole spectrum of brothers? Do you have like the meathead brother or is it everyone kind of like a softer, sensitive, thought-provoking kind of guy?
No, I think I'm probably the most sort of sensitive one. Then there's like sort of the capitalist one, like I would say our oldest brother, he was the first one, so he thought he was going to be an only child. And then 9 more people showed up. So he's never forgiven us.
How old is he?
50 fucking 7 or something.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He was 7. That's what people are like. I've been arguing. I'm argumentative sort of. And it's like, because I've been arguing with fucking adults since I was 5. And not regular adults. These are angry people.
Yeah.
Who would call me a faggot, and you know what I mean? Like these are not regular. These are angry Irish Catholic fucking bitter dudes, who'd say I'm a moron and a faggot. So yeah, like there's just it's more spectrum of like sort of weirdos than it is like sensitive sort of. I mean, assuming I'm the sensitive one. Yeah, but it's not like it's you. That's 10 kids is too many. If you're listening, I'm sure there's not anybody. Like I see Gaffigan's like Vines or whatever.
Yes.
And the fact that he has 5 kids is like, what the fuck are you doing
in New York City?
Yeah, like what are you doing? And my parents had twice that many. And it's like it's like growing up in a youth hostel.
Are your parents still together?
No.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
They got divorced. Basically, like when I went to college, they wanted to make sure I saw what a horrible relationship looked like. They were like, "All right, so we got the message. All right, let's split it up. Let's tear it down, guys." So Keith Robinson just texted me.
I saw Keith at the cellar, and I was so fucking drunk when I ran into him that I don't remember what I said. All I know is I woke up the next morning and go, I think I should have fucking said something different. I don't know what I did, but I was like, I fucking rolled in, and I think I like patted him on the back. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
fucking just one of those.
Asked if you could touch his hair or something.
I used to have a joke about that.
Did you really?
I used to have a joke that I got in a fight with a black dude. It was a long time ago, and when I punched him in the face, it was on my last special. When I tried to punch him in the face, I missed. My hand landed in his high top fade, and I said, this is a very interesting thing about black people that no one knows barely. But if you rub them in the right place, they fall asleep. And I wrote that in an all-black club in Chicago because I didn't have an end to it. It was a true story, but I didn't have an end to the story. And it got such a big laugh that I got confident with it. And I just said it all the time. And so then I used to go, guys, seriously, try it. Touch a black person's hair, see what happens.
That's funny.
Yeah, but
that's funny. That's a funny. The fall asleep thing is like. That's when an audience laughs at that and you go, oh, you're fucking pretty smart, audience.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a non-linear joke. Like, I don't even really know what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like if you touch a certain animal or whatever, it'll fall asleep, but I don't know what one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I have a few jokes like that where I'm like, oh, all right, you guys got that? All right, good for you.
Do you have any jokes in your act where you go, that's not funny and I don't know why they laugh, but I'll keep saying it?
Yeah, of course. Where you're like, all right, I don't think it's especially funny, but the challenge is cutting a joke like that. Is if you'd go, yeah, I don't believe it. I don't give a shit. I don't want to broadcast this 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 doesn't represent me.
Oh yeah, I have jokes in my act where, or I used to. I haven't told this joke in so long I can't believe it. But where I would say the words and the words came out funny, but they didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I used to have a joke about.
Well, you have like a good personality. Like you have my jokes have to I'm getting over on cleverness. It's not like I walk out and they're like, well, fucking Mr. Charisma's here. Actually, that's a hilarious story. Me and Kevin were pitching a show. This is like during the half-baked days, probably 98, 99. For him, pitching a show for him to star in. And Kevin's a pretty sullen guy. So we go into the meeting and we're pitching and he's just being sullen and just like, and I'm being gregarious and charming and like kind of save the meeting. And so we're walking out and Kevin looks at me and goes, good job, Sparkles. Like he resented me for trying to sell a thing for him by being charming.
Yeah.
So no, that's the difference between me and you. Is like you're a good time party guy. I always say like when I go on stage, I'm the 50th most fun loving person in the room. You're the most fun loving guy in the town you go into.
That might be accurate.
I'm not even I don't even read in the room. Like I just. So my jokes have to work like fucking.
Oh, that's
my jokes have to work really, really well.
That's a really interesting insight. Is that is fucking fascinating.
Yeah, like my jokes have to be airtight for
when
them
I
to
get
work.
on stage and I fucking tear my shirt off and kill a beer.
Yeah,
everyone goes, "Oh, that's why he's up there."
Yeah,
and then, but when you get up there, you're definitely coming from the perspective of. There's 10 people going, I bet I could do this too.
Yeah.
Like,
and well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, not your jokes. I'm not saying like your jokes, but I'm saying like, when they see you, they're like...
No, it's like, well, the thing that you take away is like, boy, this guy's very logical. You know what I mean? Like, that's the take of like...
I wouldn't mind being on a road trip with this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having this guy write my term papers for me. Like... But it's like, yeah, like that's the thing of, because I'll do shows with people and it's like, sometimes I'm at the Laugh Factory on like the Saturday night and I'm like, fucking, I'll know what joke is next. And I'm like, these fucking people don't care about the Pope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like Catholicism. They don't want to fucking hear about this like high-minded. But that's the challenge of like having jokes that are like wet enough to still work with like drunkish people.
Yeah.
Even if you have my personality, like to figure out a way to like to say something or do something in a funny enough way. But there's times where I'm like, Jesus, if I'm on a show with Dane and D'Elia and these guys that are just like pure charisma, it's like, okay, all right, writing ability.
D'Elia got me on a fucking YouTube video. Like, I mean, like I watched someone do a YouTube video of him just saying how, I don't even know what he was doing, but it was just I just saw the video of him holding the camera talking to like
in
the
probably.
elevator with a this is fucking 12 years ago probably, and he's talking in the camera and he's got another comic in an elevator with him and I was like fucking I'm in. I'm watching all the whole video.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's the and there are times where I'm like now where I'm like, because I kind of have the option between like on camera or off camera, and there are times now when I'm like, these guys might just be more charming than me. Like I might just be better off just being a writer, and it wouldn't be a frustrated writer. It would just be like a writer director who like is kind of charismatic. There are guys like that, like David Steinberg. There are guys like
David
that
Steinberg's very charismatic. David Steinberg was the first director I ever worked with who fucking made me feel confident as an actor. And pulled me aside and he was like, you should be doing a sitcom if you want to get in development. I'd love to develop with you. And I was like, holy shit. And we took a general meeting and then in the whole meeting we just came out that I wanted to get into transcendental meditation because that's what he's like really big on.
Oh, is he really?
Oh, he's like he's one of the godfathers of the movement.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh yeah, like as a matter of fact, I didn't take him up on it. I was supposed to have him on the podcast. I didn't take him up on it, and later got into a conversation with someone about it. brought up David's name, and they're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
If you go in with David, you're
gonna get to Nirvana way faster.
And I was like, fuck, I should have done that. But he's got a great series with comics.
Yeah. Like David Steinberg or Mike Binder, these guys that like, so I don't like, sometimes I wonder, like, when I'm on a show with D'Elia, we did a show last night and he was so much fucking funnier than me.
We're doing a show tomorrow night.
Me and you, or you and D'Elia?
You.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I just saw it on
the Improv, maybe?
No.
Store? Factory?
With Bill Burr.
Oh, yeah, at the store. It's for All Things Comedy. Like, there are times where I'm like, man, these guys are fucking really charismatic. But then you go, in some ways, the shit's like the PGA Tour, like the tennis tour or something. It's like, not everyone can be ranked number one. Like, you can be ranked 8th and still make $1 million a year.
I'd be cool with just being like the 5th, 10th best comic working.
Yeah.
I don't need to be Chappelle or D'Elia or Burr.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with just being Bert and doing clubs and selling out both shows Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Solid numbers Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And I could do that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, that's there's part of me that, like, my ego's like, should I just do the thing where I'm like I'm probably a better director. I don't know. Like, there are times where I'll do shit directing wise and I'm like, is this as good? Is this better than my stand up? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, do I just do the thing that I'm like get more attention for, or that I enjoy more, or I don't think I have to choose is the good news, Yeah.
I always think, like, and tell me if this is true. Could you if you just decided I want to do a project, could you just go get it made?
It depends what the project is.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I look at a guy like you and I go, do you just wake up and you're like, I think I want to do a movie, or like, I think.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, there's no easy.
No, but I mean, like when I come up with a movie idea, I've got to then take it to my managers, then take it to my agents, and it usually dies somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're not known for writing scripts. I don't know what we can get you. Like if I want to do like a hosted reality show, meaning like what I do now. If I want to do something, some of that, I could get that made tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I could call up and get $15,000 to do that, and then give it, and I could give it to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like, because I've just been doing it so long. Could you get, like, say you really got into a project, you're like, I want to do this thing.
It just, I mean, I still have to pitch.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, there's nothing, there's no, like I said, there's no green lights for anybody.
What do you want to do? Like, what would be like a goal? Like
at this point, I would just like to be as popular a comic as like Gaffigan. Like, that's about as much. I feel like that's about as much as I could ask for.
Yeah.
Like, but then I also I want to be in demand in all these fields is basically what I want. Like, I want to be able to, people to want me to direct movies and direct commercials and direct TV shows and do stand up and develop a sitcom for myself and write a movie. And like, I just want to be able to do everything.
Do you drink beer?
Not really.
Okay. Weed?
No.
Nothing.
I drink a little bit of beer, but maybe 3 a month.
Oh, that's actually no beer at all.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That doesn't even read on your scale. 3
a month, or like what I drink in an audition.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like those are prop beers.
Yeah. Like, it just, I just don't, it just doesn't do. I don't have enough energy to need to take it down.
That's interesting, and you still have a hard time waking up.
100%. I don't have a hard, like, yeah, it depends. Like, I don't have a hard, I'm afraid I'm going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
Like, I live in fear of, like, missing, if I'm directing something, I can't not show up. Like, I can't, like, it's a problem. If I just don't, like, that would be unheard of. Like, oh yeah, the director overslept. What?
The director overslept?
Yeah. He was just hanging out and his dog, and then
It's interesting. I always had I remember doing I did something for Showtime. I hosted something. Russell Peters hosted it, but I did like Man on the Street stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Stu, Stu over at Triage.
Stu Smiley?
No, Stu I'm going to fuck his last name up. Anyway, Stu's the executive producer of the whole fucking thing. He owns the whole fucking company. And he's the executive producer of the show also. And I get down, call time, I'm like, 5 minutes late. The way I ballpark call times.
Yeah.
It's a blurred call time, in my opinion, because I'm a host.
Yeah.
And I rolled down, and he's waiting in the van for me. And I was like, what are you doing here so early? And he goes, call time's a very specific thing. I'm here. I made my call time. And I was like, oh. And then ever since then, I was like, I guess I can't just fucking be the last one to call time every fucking time.
Yeah. It depends what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I'm directing, like, I'm
You're there early.
Yeah. If I'm in it, I'll look at the call sheet and know when I need to get there.
Yeah.
Because I just know from directing, like, they don't fucking need me to sit in makeup for an hour and 45 minutes. Like, I'm not going to, and B, when you're the talent, quote unquote, on screen, you're treated like an animal. And that's like, I try not to when I'm directing. Like, you can't. The thing I explain to people is like when Tom Cruise has a meltdown or whatever, when so and so yells on set.
Yeah.
It's because when you're on screen, you can't fucking leave set.
Yeah.
So, like, if I want coffee in my life, I go get coffee. If I need coffee and I'm on set, they go, we're going to write it down. Then we're going to have a PA go get it for you. And it's going to take an hour and 40 minutes. And then when it gets there and it's wrong, you're like, you motherfucker, I could have gotten this myself in 10.
Yeah.
So that's the thing of like, that's why people get pissed on set. It's because you're captive. You're like an animal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can be a dick in terms of like when I'm talent, where I'll be like, they'll be like, a little late. And I'm like, did you need me? Like, what time I needed to get here.
Oh, my whole thing has always been with crews needing to rig stuff. And I go, like, I remember my thing that drives me fucking nuts is when you work with a director or a producer who's unfamiliar with how shooting works in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, and you're like, call time's 8. We'll see you down here today. I go, yeah, but you aren't going to need me until like 9:30.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'd like to have you on set. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because they still have to build cameras. They've got to fucking connect to audio. Like, they've got a lot of work to do.
A lot of shit to do.
That I don't need to be there for. And he's like, why? The cameras are made. And I'm like, nope, cameras are never
they're
fucking made.
all in boxes.
Yep, they're never fucking made.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how dare you not know a fucking thing?
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing that always fucking. What would you rather do? Would you rather do a movie or a sitcom or just a stand-up tour? So you got 1 year of your life, fucking full on. Devote. What did you call it? The heart motions. What did you call it?
Life force.
Life force. What would you like to devote your life force?
Probably a stand-up tour.
Why don't we do an all things comedy stand-up tour?
Because no one.
We all draw in different ways.
No, I know, but it's not like we're like it's the all things comedy guys.
Yeah,
we're not like a known entity.
Who's on our list? It's you
Segura,
and Moshe. You and Moshe have a completely different fan base than mine.
Yeah.
Like I would venture to say, I know I listen to y'all's podcast, but like I don't like you guys. Definitely hit a different market.
Yeah, for sure. And by that you mean black people.
Yeah, black people,
but a lot of white people. So
a lot of white people. I listened to the one you did with Riff Raff, which was uncomfortable as fuck.
Oh, it was the best. What a fucking moron.
It was so fucking hilarious because it was like, the guy was fucking.
He's out of his mind. He's just a drug addict. So
he's
I don't know.
Professional wrestler now. He's trying to look like Hulk Hogan.
I know. I saw that. Like I think I'd want to go on tour.
Yeah.
But it's knowing how life is. People are really bad at predicting what's going to make them happy. So I could go on tour and then be like, ugh, I fucking hate this. Although I don't think a bus tour to me would be like the best.
Right?
Yeah.
Why don't we do an all things comedy bus tour?
Because I don't think people know. There's not like people wouldn't go. People go all things comedy. What does that even mean?
Yeah. I guess we wouldn't be able to use our moniker.
We could, but I don't think it would help.
Who could be on it? Me, you, Segura.
Me,
Moshe?
Segura, Moshe. Yeah, like me and I feel like Segura and our show have a crossover.
Really?
Yeah, just because like a lot he talks about black people a lot. Although I think his is more for white people than ours is, because we actually know black people, whereas all of his are just things he saw at the store. Which is fucking hilarious. yeah, so yeah, I think, but I also don't know. Like, I just did something that was so goddamn fun. I just directed a commercial.
Oh,
It was like a 9-day shoot, and it was probably the greatest job I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it for?
Nike.
Shut up.
No, I just did a 9-day Nike shoot, and it was the fucking best.
What was it? What, did you have athletes in it?
Yeah. I don't know if I can talk about it yet. Here's what I can talk about. It was 9 days. It was 6 days. They basically came to me to write something because I did something for Jordan, for Air Jordan, with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul.
You're wearing an Air Jordan top right now.
Yeah. And yeah, oh yeah, by the way, when you direct a thing, you can take anything you want.
Really?
So when I'd go on the wardrobe truck, I'd be like, hey, can I? And they're like, you can take anything. I was like, oh.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so I like, there's so much shit I didn't take from Jordan. These are new Nike, like.
By the way, Todd Glass is calling me.
But so you got it. I think that speaks to the levels we're at.
Yeah. You got Chappelle and Keith, and I got Todd Glass.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so I direct, so yeah, it's like 9 days, 6 here, 6 in LA, 2 in Spain, 1 in
Hold on. I'm sorry.
England.
This Nike commercial, 2 days in Spain,
Yeah.
1 in England.
Yeah.
I can't.
6 here.
So it's got to be landmarks that you're in front of. I mean, why would you go to a studio in Spain?
It was more about athletes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
But it was fucking.
So it's going to be fucking bananas.
Yeah, it's a star-studded. But I would say they wanted me to write something, so I was like, I'll write it if I can direct it. And they were like, all right, thinking it wouldn't. It was supposed to be just like an online thing.
Yeah.
And then it kept snowballing into this thing, and they were cool enough to like let me direct it. Because I've never directed a Nike commercial. Like, I've never directed a commercial that big before. So it was like, yeah, they honored it, and the commercial turned out really well, and it's like fucking the best.
God,
it was so fun.
Amazing.
It was so fun just telling, because it's basically directing an action movie because there's not a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, famous athlete, run, and I'll film it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's filming. It's figuring out a cool way to shoot athletes doing athletic shit.
That's crazy. So could you theoretically, if you were interested in it, could you, I mean, obviously maybe that would be a step back in your career, but could you come up with a bunch of like fun ass, badass commercials? And
I don't think it would be a step back. It's like,
I wouldn't
the money's
be a step back
great.
in my opinion.
I'll tell you the budget off camera.
Yeah.
The budget for the commercial was higher than the entire first season of Chappelle.
Holy fucking shit.
So I got the DP from Fight Club and Gone Girl. I got Fincher's DP. And they're like, is that okay? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. That'll be fine. Some of them will start airing this Saturday, but the big rollout is like July 2nd. So, this is interesting. The commercial is going to air in China. And if you want a commercial to air in China, you have to give it to the Chinese government a month before so that they can scrub it for anti-communist messages.
Seriously?
Yeah.
See, I would probably, I'm not even joking, I would probably tap out of everything I'm doing to just direct commercials.
It was really fun. I'll say that. Like, if I could the thing about commercials is like, it's another one of those like really inconsistent things though.
Really?
You can be hot. I could get hot from this commercial or not. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you can, there's very few people that have like a long-term steady stream of work that you can be like a good director for, like a famous director for like 30 years or whatever. There are people that have put together like 5-year runs, 10-year runs, 15-year runs. I'd love to do it. And again, the thing that they get is punch up. Like, I was like, the ending of the commercial was something I told one of the athletes to do. And they were like, I was like, trust me, it'll be cool.
Do you save your punch up sometimes for being, do you think of it earlier? You're like, oh, you don't
No, because you want to get the job.
Oh, yeah.
And you want it to be good. And like, because the other thing, if you give a good punch up early, then when you're on set, hopefully you think of a better one. But yeah, it was the coolest fucking, all these like super, and it's not fame. It's like, they're famous athletes, but like, it was cool just to, it's you know what I like about it? It's the access of like when I show you the spot, I'll show you off camera. I'm sorry, like maybe I can come back when it airs and we can talk about it, but like just having these people do their thing and like it's like the toy. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like and it's not like the toy, not like I abuse it, but it's just that I know how cool it is to get such and such to run and the other cool thing was some of the athletes were in high school when Chapelle Show was on, so they were like really excited to meet me.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Which was like the best. So I would do that. Like hopefully I can do that, a lot of that, but and like now I'm friends with the guy who did Fight Club. So he and I Judd Apatow emailed me like, hey, who was the DP on The Goods? Was he good? And I was like, yeah, he was great. I was like, by the way, I just work with this guy, Jeff, who you maybe use him. And he was like, oh, yeah, should I? Should I work with the best DP ever?
Yeah.
So I texted Jeff and I was like, hey man, I tried to recommend you to Judd, but he said you're too famous or something. I was like, I was trying to break you into comedy. And Jeff wrote, I'll only do comedy with you, which was like fucking the best. If it's true, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just a great experience all around. It's also cool to be funny in a venue that they're not used to someone being funny. Yeah. So like being funny kind of like all day on set, people are like, oh, usually it's like just a dude directing commercial. It's not like a funny person. It's just generally like a nice guy or whatever.
That's fucking great. What would you do if you could do a show at Travel Channel? What would you want to do? Travel Channel always listens to my podcasts, so I always have when I have friends on, I go, what would you want to do? And then they'll just call up one day and go, hey, like they actually called up and they were like, hey, Russell, you talked to Russell Peters about doing a thing. Yeah, we're interested in that. Can we get his number? And I was like, yeah, sure.
I'm doing actually a kind of a travel show pilot with Comedy Central.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I won't say what the premise is because I don't. Yeah. Here's the premise. Basically, the Lonely Island, Sandberg and those guys had an idea for. One of their buddies was like, hey, we should do a thing where we go home with celebrities to their hometowns. Yeah. And so the Lonely Island was like, hey, would you host it? And I was like, I'll host it if when we go to people's hometowns, a plot breaks out. So like we'll go to, the bad example is like we go to Philly with Bradley Cooper and then it turns out there's a ghost in the house he grew up in. Yeah. And then he and I just have to kill the ghost or whatever. Like there'll be like a plot every week. So we'll like see the landmarks or whatever, but it's all basically a ruse to have a plot.
B story or
it'll be the A story, but it'll be we'll go to like Gino's.
It's the A story it's the A story, however, for a B story show. Like the whole
precisely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think Comedy Central's going to do it.
That's great.
Yeah, but that was so like that would be the one I want.
It's like going to Jim Gaffigan's hometown, and the rumor that he fucked a goat once
100%
is the entire A story that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, and he has to prove that he didn't fuck a goat or whatever.
That's great.
Yeah, so that would be like the show I'd wanted that I'm doing. Travel Channel would just be, I don't know. I guess that's.
Well, what are you passionate about the world? Like, do you,
I think more, how Vice does it?
Yeah. Vice has got some really great shit out.
Yeah, like the way it's like, sort of, not like.
Have you seen Fuck That's Delicious?
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking love it.
Yeah. I couldn't do a show like that because I'm vegetarian.
Yeah. How long have you been a vegetarian?
5-6 years.
Yeah, what was it? Just dietary?
I had a weird taste in my mouth. There's something called burning mouth syndrome. That it's like this obscure thing where literally like 4 days a month I feel like I ate hot pizza. Yeah. And my mouth was burnt and I couldn't taste anything. So I thought it was dietary. So I stopped, and then it ended up being it went away, but I think it went away for other reasons, and so yeah. And it's not that hard. I also think the meat industry's gross, and I feel like human beings are fucking the earth up. So I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
But
what do you miss the most? Pizza?
No, I can still eat. Like when I was in Europe for the shoot, I like didn't I downgraded to vegetarian because it's like, well, I'm eating with the crew every night, and I don't want to be like, we have to go to a place called fucking Greengrass tonight.
Yeah.
Like, so I downgrade.
Do you have a lot of salads?
I have a salad for lunch usually, but I did that when I ate meat too.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I'd love to go vegan. See how long I could go vegan.
You would easily go vegetarian.
I have a hard time.
You really wouldn't.
I don't have a problem getting rid of red meat. I
Then
get rid
what's
of
the
red
problem?
meat tomorrow. Chicken, fish. I mean, I need.
Here's the thing that I've explained to 1,000 people. What you're tasting is sauce. So basically, chicken, fish, that stuff is basically a sauce delivery system. It's a sauce and spice delivery system. So take teriyaki sauce, put it on tofu or tempeh or seitan or beans or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same exact taste.
Yeah, but tofu, no matter how firm, I always tried to do buffalo tofu.
There's a new one. There's a new fake chicken that had fooled a bunch of food critics and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't remember. I eat it all the time.
We used to do Morningstar. I used to go. I was arguably vegetarian for a while. I was doing Morningstar everything. I love those Morningstar chicken things.
Yeah,
those things are fucking next level. I take those with sriracha and a little ranch. Oh my god, fucking wolf those down.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's like the shit you put on it.
I should probably. I'm eating clean right now. I've been eating clean for the past week. Just meaning like very lean.
Yeah.
A lot of greens. Like a lot of greens.
Not a lot of rice, not a lot of pasta.
No, not a lot of rice, no pasta, no rice, no bread.
Great.
Like, because I just think the bread fucks me up.
Bread's really shitty for you.
And I was not drinking for a big stretch, but Memorial Day happened, and I just
and then
was like,
one
I'm
thing led to
definitely
another.
fucking drinking.
You wanted to honor the troops. I get it.
Yeah. It's for them.
Yeah.
What am I?
You don't want to drink.
Yeah. I didn't want to do it. I was drinking tequila and club soda because I was still trying to stay as clean as possible.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, then I'm done. And then Joey Diaz called last night. And he's like, dog, come over to the podcast. So I go fucking kill a bottle of wine with him and Segura. And then tonight I'm going to Felipe's. I know I'm going to get fucking blitzed there.
At his podcast?
Yeah.
He's so funny.
It's the best interview I've ever done in my entire life.
With him?
Best interview.
Did he tell you about how he got into comedy?
Not really.
Did he tell you about doing meth?
Yeah.
And biting a dude's face off?
Yeah. It's the best interview I've ever done. And it was the first time that I just really shut the fuck up and let him talk. Let someone talk. I've done that a couple times. This one's not so good because I kind of.
No, you were. This was good.
I felt, but like this is
the thing that you don't want to do as a podcast host is like do a 5-minute tangent about some shit that you talk about all the time.
Yeah,
like
this is good because I the shit that fascinates. I took this step from Rogan. I found what I find to be fascinating is what this podcast is. And there's parts of your career that I find absolutely fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Like the directing and the crossover stand-up, the beginning of you touring, the relationship with your family I find fascinating too.
That is pretty fascinating.
But yeah, so I'm drinking tonight, and then I'll probably drink tomorrow night.
Okay.
At the show.
How about Thursday night?
I'm on the wagon, but Thursday.
Thursday I'm back. They know that. Thursday knows that.
And then I go to Maui in a week, so I'll be fucking hardcore off.
Are you still doing a Travel Channel show?
Still doing travel. They picked up an old show of mine that they had canceled. This show, Bert the Conqueror, where I did extreme rides, and they just said like, "Hey, you want to do some more?" I was like,
"What extreme
rides?" I opened like throw rides, like roller coasters, and I was first person to jump off the stratosphere.
Really?
Yeah, I was first person to jump off stratosphere. First person to do a lot of rides. I would go to parks and open their rides, and I'd also I was a complete expert in the field. I still am. I did Verrückt, which is the world's tallest water slide. It's like 17 stories, and you're in a thing, and the guy's there. The Schutterbahn, it's a family company where one of the brothers creates all the rides, and another brother kind of is the
shits on them. That's how it'd be in my family.
Yeah, but they were really excited. The manager was like, "Hey, I'm excited to have you do our ride. Can you tell me what you think?" Because that's what I did for 2 years on Travel Channel, and. But yeah, so we'll start it up. If you ever want to do, if you're into roller coasters or water parks or skydiving or anything crazy.
Well, you know what's funny is I used to get motion sickness, and I think I don't anymore.
I don't anymore either.
And I went on I'm in the Big Brothers program, like the Big Brothers whatever.
Really?
I know, isn't that funny?
It's
like
ironic too.
I know, like
Yeah.
you would never guess it. Me and the kid went to like Santa Monica Pier, and I went on like the roller coaster there, and it was fucking fun.
Yeah.
Going on a roller coaster is really fun.
It's legit. I always say, people always go, my buddy Cowhead always says, I just didn't like the roller coasters. But that is the most accessible, safest form of thrill you can find.
100%.
People can go. I'm trust you when I say, if you go on Diamondback in Kings Island in Ohio, that is one of the greatest fucking rides around. It really is. All it is a lap belt. It's barbershop seats, so your feet are dangling. So when you free fall, you experience.
You really do know the jargon, by the way.
Oh yeah,
barbershop seats.
Yeah, well that's my layman's definition. But I met with guys that created the greatest coasters in the world, and it was like, I remember one guy saying to me, I said, "Yeah, you guys really thought it all," and he goes, "It's fucking $20 million."
Yeah,
it's You're looking at $20 million. You don't think we covered all the bases? And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's also with safety. When people are like, I'm afraid, it's like, do you think they would open some? You know how much liability there is?
Do you know what? There's always, my wife used to say, when I was jumped off the stratosphere, I was freaked the fuck out. And my wife kept saying to me, and my cameraman, Scott Sands, kept saying, do you realize there's one guy that they pay simply to try to get this not to open for insurance reasons?
Yeah.
Like, so you're going to be there. And I always think of that one guy, that pencil pusher in the office going, I don't know. This doesn't
the Vegas stratosphere?
Yeah, stratosphere.
You bungeed off it?
It's a controlled descent. So it's 16 seconds of free fall, 1,100 feet. You jump and you just drop for like 16 seconds.
And what is it, bungees on both sides?
Nope. It's one cord that's on your back, and there's a big like spinning, like basically like a fishing reel at the top. And as you get to the last 40 feet, it slows you down so you land on the ground. It's pretty
great.
It's pretty great. Best thing out there, and I've said this a million times. I'm trying to open one. I'm not like you. I can't. I have ideas, and then they seem to sit in this man cave with me, and I
have plenty of that too.
No, but I have it like in spades. I feel like I'm trying desperately to open a rope swing. A rope swing is the greatest. I'm telling you without a doubt.
Rope swing like over a pond kind of thing?
No. So like I did a bunch in they have them in Switzerland and New Zealand. I did one in Africa. That's where the one I did in Africa was like pretty fucking gangster. It's at Moses Mbita Stadium. It's like 550. It's the world's tallest indoor rope swing. They take it to the stadium. They connect it at the dead center of the stadium, like a rope, like a climbing rope, like basically big fucking tethers that are strong as fuck. And then they dangle it to this catwalk, and you jump and you free fall arguably the entire way. And at the last second, the swing kicks in and it swings you up, and you swing back and forth. I did one in fucking Interlaken, Switzerland. That is the goddamn fucking cat's pajamas. This fucking thing, it was like 410 feet, and you free fell, I'm not even fucking with you, 390 feet. And at the last 10 feet, it caught you and swung you 10 feet from the bottom of this fucking canyon. You were swinging with a rock 10 feet away from your feet. It was... I remember when I got done, I said to myself, I am either dead and in heaven, or that was the greatest goddamn thing I've ever fucking done.
And you probably have adrenaline for 5 hours.
And it is clean adrenaline. You're literally... And so I've tried desperately. I sent it out to all my management, all my agents. I said, can someone please find me a stadium? The people in Africa want to
I like how
up.
you think people in showbiz can help you?
Yeah.
Like, CA, can you connect me to the roller coaster department?
Yeah. UTA.
Yeah, sorry.
I reached out to, I was like, attention, Chris Hart. Can someone please get me a fucking pro stadium?
Yeah.
And then, because I got these people in Africa that have no connection, but they are the greatest company. And so I was going to try to broker the deal, get it set up, open a rope swing, premiere it on like Good Morning America, fucking, and just,
I feel like that wouldn't engender trust of like who'd we get, the African rope swing people? Yeah. Like
from Durban.
Yeah, like, but yeah. I don't think people are like, oh, good, they're African. We're in good hands.
It's so funny. I can say this to you because you deal with the podcast predominantly about race or about race or whatever. But what was fascinating to me was that it was African, so it was all black dudes, and never in my vast time of doing thrills, never did I ever have a black guy harness me into anything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's always New Zealand and Australian guys.
Yeah.
Or like a guy with an accent.
Well, that's the thing of like white people. All of our danger is elective.
Yeah.
It's like, let me put you know what I'm going to do? Go put myself in danger.
Yeah.
Whereas like they have to just walk home. And that's as dangerous as fucking us rope swinging.
Yeah. It was interesting. These guys just were like, Heather was like, okay, buddy, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna. And my daughter saw it, and my daughter's 8, and she saw like me on this catwalk 500 feet in the air with like fucking 8 black dudes, and she's like, oh, is that the Wu-Tang Clan? And I was like, no. So how do we wrap this up? How do we put a bow on this? Here's the deal. You know that Segura will do a bus tour. I will do a bus tour.
What do you mean?
Let's do it.
Okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Let's do it. I got the cities mapped out. Ready? Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, Nashville, Indy.
You know what's funny?
What?
These are all places I've been that no one came to see me.
Seriously?
Yeah.
These are all places I sell.
I'm again San Francisco, D.C., New York, L.A., Boston, like Seattle.
See, that's why you just didn't do the road like I did. So I spent 15 years in those cities.
Yeah.
These are all cities I draw in. Go from Indy to Columbus, Columbus to Dayton, Dayton to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Philly, Philly to New York, New York to D.C., and we end in D.C.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
The only place people would come to see me is D.C.
Really?
I'm sorry, New York and D.C.
Yeah.
Indy, it's like, again, it's that
DC, we could do a theater.
Charisma thing. It's like...
DC, we could do a theater. I could do a theater in DC now for the first time probably, but I've been selling out DC for like 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest market anywhere because of Elliot in the Morning.
I love that dude.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the greatest. I always wanted him to come on my podcast. DC is where I kicked off.
He also, the thing about Elliot is like, he knows shit about you. That's really cool.
I'm gonna suck his dick for a second. He's the best interviewer out there.
Yeah.
He does research you didn't expect him to do.
Yeah.
And he fucking loves to laugh.
And he loves comedy for the right reason. He's not like, he's just, I love doing that guy's show.
It'd be great. What we'll do is I bet we could fucking, Segura's the one that could really spearhead this because he knows about fucking small venues.
Yeah.
We could do off nights in comedy clubs every single fucking night.
Yeah.
We're never going to make our money there. We need to do a couple theaters on the way.
All right. I'm not opposed to it, man.
I'm in. We're going to hang out at the store tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
all right, good.
We'll fucking put some nails in this. Get Bill to give us... What we'll do is we'll get Bill to get a tour bus and get it for like a long period of time. We'll just borrow it for 2 weeks. Let's get Ralphie's tour bus.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll give us his bus.
What do you want to promote? The Champs?
I don't know. I mean, whatever. Just follow me on Twitter. There's shit on there that I'll keep you abreast of my shit.
I appreciate you doing this, Neal.
Oh yeah, dude. I like you, Bert. So it's nice. It was fun to come. That's what's funny is like, I just did a thing with Schumer for like a promo for a movie.
Yeah.
That I directed, and it's like I wouldn't see her otherwise, unless we did something together. Like because she's busy, I'm busy, so it's fun to get together for shit like this.
Yeah, podcasts make. I've gotten to hang out with a lot more people. Like I would have never hung out with Felipe.
Yeah, 100%.
And now I'm going. And now we're hanging out a lot. Like I'm going over to hang out with him tonight.
Yeah,
and then I'll see you tomorrow night.
His wife's great too. Lisa's awesome.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. She was great. She was like. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Well, thank you for doing this.
Oh, come on. No, my pleasure, man.
I appreciate it.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.